Hi, our nation. Welcome to the inaugural edition of the PreGame, presented by Robillard Hearing Services and Rogers TV. I'm Ken Rivera. I am your host, former football player and a big fan of Ottawa football, especially the Ottawa Red Blacks. And this is where you get to party in plaid and talk everything that is Red Blacks through the 2019 CFL campaign. The 2019 edition of the Red Blacks opened the season up with a big victory over the defending Grey Cup champion Calgary Stampeders in what was a rematch of last year's Grey Cup. Now the team is preparing for their home opener here at TD Place on Thursday night against the visiting Saskatchewan Roughriders. We have the good word from head coach Rick Campbell, defensive coordinator Noel Thorpe, running back Moses Madu, and much more, along with a Getting to Know You segment, and we're going to talk football with Post Media's Tim Baines. That and more. This is the pregame, and it's time to get the game started right now.
It's a lot more fun to try to get better when you win than when you lose, and so good win on the road, and now we got to reload and get ready for this next one.
Pretty formidable defense you're up against this week. Saskatchewan kind of built off that defense. What do you have to do? Adjustments?
Yeah, they're tough and athletic, and have a lot of guys returning from last year. When you watch the film of them playing Hamilton, a lot of recognizable guys that have played for them last year, and so they're good. Obviously, they went into Hamilton, played a very close game after having their quarterback knocked out of the game, so they're going to be tough, but we're going to have to adjust, and they're good. They're good on defense, like you said. Their defensive lines, proven veteran group, and they have DBs that have all been there last year for the most part, so yeah, it'll be tough.
With two inexperienced quarterbacks, is the focus on ensuring they beat you, not a guy like William Powell?
Yeah, you can say something like that. Sometimes you fall into a trap if you try to adjust yourself because of assuming somebody's new or can do something or can't do something. So at the end of the day, we got to focus on just playing good defense and then go from there.
Is it tough moving on to your next game with one practice and a walkthrough?
It can be, but it's part of the deal. I tell these guys that if you want to embrace the CFL lifestyle, is you need to it's part of the deal, and every team's going to go through it. So if you make it a problem, it becomes a problem, and if you don't, you don't. The biggest key, in my experience with these short weeks, especially with the travel time, is that you get enough rest, and so you need a couple good night's sleeps and then be ready to go on Thursday.
Trying to set the tone playing at home in terms not just against Saskatchewan, but a message to other teams. It's going to be tough to play here at TD Place despite the changes in personnel.
Yeah, I mean, we love playing here. Believe me, it's a great place to play. But again, we don't want to get distracted on something like that, as we want to just play good football regardless of where it is. But obviously, it's always a special thing to come home and play in front of the fans, for sure.
You talk about pressuring the quarterback, and you did that. But more importantly, at halftime when you go into the room, you get in the whiteboard and do some adjustments. And their ability to translate that on the field, was that important for you to see?
Yeah, we threw some different looks in the second half. I really felt though in the second quarter, midway through the second quarter, our ability to control the line of scrimmage was important.
Yeah.
And you could see that our ability to put some pressure on the quarterback, force him into some errant throws, and play tight coverage.
What did you see in this team that maybe did you have to work on that you're a little surprised at? Perhaps was it the start?
Wasn't surprised. These guys got fight and they got grit. And we talk about what our response is going to be in sudden change moments. We really felt like we had an opportunity early in the second quarter, in the first quarter, to hold them to a field goal. An offside penalty kept them on the field, and they ended up scoring. So I think this team and this defense shows resilience and the ability in some of those sudden change moments to come out and get stops.
Being the pro that you are, as important as it was to rush for the hun, was it more important that it opened things in the playbook, the play action, the things you can do off that in the second half that really set things up for you?
Yeah, for sure. In college, you always preach the run game sets up the pass game.
Yeah.
So when you're running the ball, it opens up everything else for the offense.
What's it been like this training camp? Some faces are gone, but also there's a bunch of returning guys. I think people have lost sight of that there's that culture, that foundation that still remains here at the Red Blacks.
We still have that attitude and the core that we need to have. You know? We did lose a lot of very big key guys, but at the end of the day, we're all professionals. So we all came here to do our job, and do our job. We go out there and help the team win the game.
Coach Campbell says you're a pro's pro. Where does that stem from?
I don't know, man. I just realizing that this is a business. You can't take things to heart and take things personally. It's a business, So just do your job. And at the end of the day, you're gonna see blessings because of it.
We've always liked him. He's a complete back, and that he does a good job running the ball, but he's also good out of the backfield and in pass pro. So that's not surprising, and it is a big deal to be able to run the ball because it slows the defense down and it wears them down.
Was this being a team player with Williams starting for the most part at the running back position? Was his role key to your re-signing him, bringing back him, knowing he was a quality guy beyond a football player?
Yeah, I think they're both really good running backs, and we said last year we were very fortunate to have both those guys, and William just kind of got on a roll, so we didn't want to mess with it. We actually planned more last year to play them both and use them both throughout the season, but not the way it worked out. But again, Moses is a guy that's we use the term professional, the stereotypical word. He is actually a professional and gets ready to play every week, and good for him for getting in there and doing a good job.
This whole notion that you're starting now, all eyes are on Dominic in Ottawa, but is this not just a natural step in your evolution as a quarterback, that you've been preparing this, not just this training camp, but 5 years, 10 years for this moment?
As a quarterback, if you're the 1 or the 2 or the 3 or the 4, you got to prepare yourself like you're the starter, because you never know. Guys go down, or things happen where you just have to stay prepared, and you got to prepare yourself like a starter each and every day.
Physically, you can play quarterback. You've done that all your life. But what is it about your growth that brought you in a position of leadership where this team says, we got ourselves a quarterback, but we also got a guy who can lead this football team?
It's funny because I really haven't been playing quarterback all my life. I started playing quarterback when I was 16 years old, my junior year in high school. But just being the same guy every day, and just showing guys I work hard every day. First guy in, last guy out. And just being there for my guys and looking those guys in the eyes and know they can count on me.
He's very level-headed in a good way, in that he just kind of is able to be pretty mindful and stay in the moment and just worry about what's happening on the play he's running. And so good on him. Just like the rest of the team, of being able to be resilient, bounce back, and perform.
Let's talk Red Blacks football. From a character standpoint, what do you see in this team?
Young, tough, strong, focused, really hungry though, and just the Red Black football.
Okay, you're an Inglewood, California guy. LA Lakers. Who was your favorite Laker growing up?
Probably Kobe Bryant. He was big all over, and he just got sucked into how great he was.
Yeah. Playing for the USC Trojans, what was that experience like?
It was tough. It was tough. At the same time, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was tough, but fun.
Why football of all the sports? Because most athletes at this level are multi-sport guys. Why football for you?
I just love the overall teamwork aspect, the camaraderie that everybody gains, all the emotions that come with it. You don't experience unless you play football.
You have a football family. Two brothers.
I do.
You have Justice, who's playing.
Justice is in Hawaii.
Okay.
Jonah is at San Diego State.
Yeah.
And then Jelani, he just got drafted by the Detroit Lions.
How competitive was that household growing up?
Oh, we were fighting all over. Yeah, somehow.
Is that a football thing or is it a Polynesian thing?
I don't know. Yeah,
or both?
You can add. Yeah, you can add all of it. I don't know. We're all brothers, and culture, football, sports, family, all that.
Yeah.
But at the same, we just made each other better.
In terms of your background, a lot of Polynesian athletes play rugby, so I'm going to challenge you, obviously, and let's talk some.
We like playing rugby because we get to touch the ball.
That's what it is.
It's off and on. Yeah, you can play offense and defense, but we definitely love defense more. Love hitting.
Would that mean you'd lobby head coach Rick Campbell to get the ball?
I can't do that. I can't. I don't have. I don't know. We got playmakers on offense, so.
Of all the CFL players who have played in this game, there's a number of players who are of Polynesian descent who have influenced the game. Do you know who the throwing Samoan is?
I do. He's, I believe he's our coach now. He's our running backs coach.
Joe Pau.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic guy.
Yep.
Proud of his Polynesian roots. In terms of the Maori, what is that for the people on the outside looking in, and what is the haka?
That's mostly a New Zealand thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the Maori, and we're the Manu Samoa.
Which means?
Strong Samoan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your favorite Disney movie has to be Moana?
Nah.
No?
No, actually.
Which one would it be?
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille?
Where
does that come from? That's like way out of left field, outside the stadium. Are you a chef by nature?
I love to eat, I guess.
Foodie?
Yeah. Big time.
Your thoughts on being in Ottawa and playing in Canada? Because I'm sure growing up in Inglewood, you didn't say, hey, Mom, Dad, forget chase the Laker dream. I want to play football in Canada.
In life, everything comes and goes, and you have ups and downs, but somehow I ended up in Canada, and I'm thankful for it. Ottawa is a beautiful city, and they've been taking care of me, and at the same time letting me play football. So I'm really thankful.
Hey, our nation, Ken Brer here. They already know who I am. Hey, our nation, this is a great opportunity for us to take advantage of the. Hey, our nation, this is a great opportunity this season to connect with the minds that cover the Ottawa Red Blacks football team. And in our inaugural segment, we're going to connect with Tim Baines from Sun Media. And first off, thank you for joining us, Timmy. Your thoughts on this football team, the Ottawa Red Blacks, the 2019 edition, going into the season before training camp. What did you think we would have as far as the football team is concerned?
You lost me at mines. You lost me way back when you said with the mines to cover the football team. Okay. The Ottawa Red Blacks. I mean, going into this season, obviously a lot of questions. You look at key positions. You look at quarterback, running back, left tackle, receiver. That's some key pieces.
Yeah.
And through the whole thing, through training camp, Coach Rick Campbell, the guys seem to be confident. A lot of these guys, while they weren't starters, were around last year, and they seemed to want to build off that continuity.
I've always liked the idea of keeping guys around and investing some time in them, because I remember back in the day when I played, it took a guy out of college or university, whether it's American or Canadian, a year, sometimes even 2 years, to get themselves up to speed. And I think that investment, combined with the idea that I think Marcel Desjardins, correct me if I'm wrong, that Marcel Desjardins has decided to move the money from the big ticket items, quarterback and Trevor Harris and Greg Ellington, Deontay Spencer and Servi, obviously at that left tackle spot, and said we need to move the money around and change the way this team is built. Maybe because, and tell me again, correct me if I'm wrong, this team was always winning Eastern Conference championships, but he had to change things up in his own way, maybe say, let's focus on winning a Grey Cup. And that maybe is a truer focus on the defense and special teams versus the offense.
Yeah, certainly they wanted, we talk about returning players on defense.
Yeah.
They did. They had to spend to keep some of those guys. And there's a renewed commitment to the offensive line as well. We talk about an all-Canadian offensive line. There's a lot of money sunk into that line. It's not like these guys are playing for league minimum. There's a lot of guys in that offensive line making $150,000 and up. So there's a commitment there. We talk about Greg Ellington. Deontay Spencer was going to the NFL.
Anyways,
different anyway. And they may have spent the money to keep Deontay. Greg Ellington, Do you want to pay $250,000 to keep him? A great receiver. They decided, as you said, they're going to disperse the money elsewhere and maybe spread it around a bit.
So we have a different makeup of a football team. We have guys who have paid their dues, but now they have to go up and line up when the lights are on and the cameras are rolling. What did you see in preseason, and what did you see in the win over Calgary this past weekend?
What I really liked was the pushback.
Yeah.
This was a team that could have rolled over. I mean, I'm writing a story on deadline, and I got to admit, with 6 or 7 minutes left, my story, the lead of my story, had Ottawa losing. 4 interceptions. The story was 4 interceptions. 3 of them led to touchdowns. Killed the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Yeah.
And that was the story. And then there was the pushback. And they won a football game. That's what a successful team has to do. You have to have that ability where you don't play your best game, and you can look back and say, wow, we did that, made a lot of mistakes, and yet they won.
Is part of their maturity also and their growth tied to the fact, okay, offense may not get it done. Defense go make some plays until offense figures their way.
Yeah.
And it's a long season, so the same thing's going to happen where all of a sudden the defense comes out of the gate slow and offense has to put up some points. And special teams will have to also make contribute to the cause. Is that just part of, again, the maturity, the growth, and that we see the glasses maybe half full versus half empty for this Red Blacks team versus a lot of the naysayers out there that see this team getting a comeuppance for being so good for the last 4 or 5 years?
I think it's funny. We talk about the naysayers out there. I mean, we had a guy, a media personality out west, pick this team to win 2 games. So 1 to go, 17 games and 1 more win to go, and they nailed that. But going into the season, it's so hard to predict. Let's not paint this team as being this dynasty or powerhouse. It's not like this team has gone 14-4, 13-5 these past couple seasons.
They've had their
you win a Grey Cup, you're
season.
8-9-1. I mean, they're in the East Division. If you can come out of this thing 9-9, it looks like you're going to make the playoffs. And this has been a team that's been kind of the MO the past few years. A little better last year, but they've been an 8-9-1, a 9-9 team. That's the team they've been. And I think management, coaches would like to make this into a little bit of a different thing where they're winning the East and not winning it with a 9-9 record.
So they have Saskatchewan on Thursday night and a couple of sleeps here at the nation's capital. When you look at the calendar, the schedule, you say, okay, Calgary first, okay, probably not a win. You got Saskatchewan here with that great defense, but now they have some quarterback issues. We have a good chance of that. To pick up 2 wins in 2 weeks against Western Conference teams says a lot in terms of the big picture. So how, in the scheme of things, was that Calgary win, and what would it mean for them, again, to be Saskatchewan, be 2-0 in the East, and have beaten Western Conference teams doing it?
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the schedule before the season, and I looked at it, and again, with all due respect to the Red Blacks, it was a tough start to the schedule. You start in Calgary.
Yeah.
So let's say you lose that game, you come out 0-1. You play Saskatchewan here. It's a short week.
Yeah.
It's 1 practice and a walkthrough. You get Saskatchewan coming in again. A couple of weeks ago, Zach Collaros is going to be your quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what the defense is. It's a great defense, and you're thinking, oh man, 0-2, possible.
And then the pressure's really on the younger quarterback,
for sure.
And they got to figure a bunch of things out.
So you got Montreal, and let's say you beat Montreal, and then you're 1-2, and then you get 2 more tough games. You could have come out of this first 5 games 1-4, and that's tough, especially on a new quarterback with changes. The teams, there's maybe becomes a bit of a disconnect where the guys are going, wow, maybe we aren't that good a football team. Now you come out of a different story. Now you come out 1-0, and they could very well, without Collaros, they could be 2-0.
And you talk about emotional intelligence and aptitude, and it's easier to challenge a learning curve when you're winning games.
Right.
And I think for a guy like quarterback like Dominic Davis, and for some of the younger players who are being asked to do more, success begets success, and you build confidence and you start to believe, versus on the other side of that coin, the flip side, where you say, lose a couple of games, maybe I don't belong. Maybe we're not good. And now you start thinking about, okay, something goes wrong, that means everything that can inevitably go wrong is going to happen. Bad luck, schlep rock syndrome, right? That, hey, that's just the way it's going to be for us. And to avoid that trap and that type of thinking and build some resilience, because really what I think out of that game against Calgary, the big key word was resilience.
Right. He's going to, we talk about Dominique Davis.
Yeah.
They come out of that first game with a loss, and all of a sudden Dominique's thinking, oh, I threw four interceptions.
Yeah.
Coaching staff is looking at, quarterback threw four interceptions.
All that stuff,
Second week, let's say second week, they play Saskatchewan, a very, very tough defense. Dominique's going to have challenges this week. Let's say things don't go well. All of a sudden, if you're 0-2,
and then Jonathan Jennings
and maybe all of a sudden the quarterbacks, maybe we'll try Jonathan Jennings. But now, as it is now, they're 1-0. Dominique Davis is going to look at the film. The coach is going to look at the film. Yeah. Don't force the ball. You're forcing the ball into tight spaces.
And how many times has a young quarterback been told that?
Right.
If we had a nickel for every time that we've heard that, we'd have a lot of nickels. We'd be uber rich. So he has to grow from that experience. And this week, because they didn't lose, they win. And if they beat Saskatchewan, he doesn't have to deal with Jonathan Jennings questions.
Right.
Which is the last thing he needs to deal with, because he needs to focus on his game and not worry about what the competition. That's always going to be there. You can't do anything about it, but he's going to have to answer those questions if they had a tough start.
Momentum is always a good thing, and it's also good when you're playing your opening game. You're coming off a win in Calgary, a tough win, but as far as putting people in the seats, if the team comes in 0-1 and there's all these questions, they're not that good this year, maybe I won't go to the game. It's momentum, and I think the momentum will show up with the attendance on Thursday as well.
I've argued that the pressure really is on the coaching staff this year to coach this team up, to get them to week 9. And I think by then figure out who they are as a football team and then go. Is that a fair assertion?
I think it is. And if you can establish by week 9 that you're a pretty good football team, and they finish with 2 games against Toronto and a game against Hamilton, that's the way they want to finish. Let's not let that determine our fate, though. Let's get out of this, get out of the gate, and establish some kind of dominance right from the get-go.
Anthony Chaffee, what do you see in him this year? And Avery Ellis, and some of the guys on the defense, what do you see in them this year versus last year? And is it because the dynamic has changed? Some pieces are gone. Now they have more of a voice in the locker room. They can take ownership. They can put their hands on the steering wheel.
I think it is that. It's that confidence. You've been there, done that. And you look at the defensive line. You look at Avery Williams at linebacker. I mean, there's a guy that he's going to be, I think, one of the top defenders in the league if he keeps on this kind of arc. Anthony Chaffee, a guy not lacking in confidence.
Probably the fastest guy on this team.
He's perfect for that position. You want to play him at Sam linebacker.
Yeah.
He's aggressive. Again, a guy who's emerging. We talk about the CFL came out, the TSN. TSN came out with its list of top 50 CFL players. There were 2 Ottawa Redblacks on that list.
That's it.
Let's see what happens this year, because you're going to see it's not going to be just Brad Sinopoli and Lewis Ward.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see some of these defensive guys rise to that where they're getting recognition around the league.
Should be a very interesting run. I'm really excited because I want to see what this team becomes, because we always had a pretty good sense in the last 3 or 4 years what we had as a football team. I'm curious to see what comes from the chemistry and the combination of players thrown in with the coaching that they have here in Ottawa. So and not to win the East, but in terms of the big plan I think Marcel Desjardins has, because I really believe that he thinks that last year's Grey Cup was a missed opportunity against a Calgary offense that wasn't great, but an Ottawa team that turned the ball over 7 times.
This team has got to stop relying on mediocrity around the rest of the league to count on it into making the playoffs, because that's been the story. They were 2015, they won 12 games. A great season. They've got to be that 12-6, 11-5. 11-5. 11. I don't want to be better than 11-7. I want to be 13-5. Math wasn't my major.
And they got to win here at home. And it starts Thursday.
They have to be better at home. I mean, that's been another thing over the years. For whatever reason, they don't play well enough at home. I don't know the exact record, but it hasn't really been a home field advantage.
Certainly nothing to brag about, that's for sure.
No.
Well, it starts Thursday night, the season opener here at home at TD Place, where it's the 1-0 Ottawa Redblacks playing host to the 0-1, and lacking at the quarterback position, Saskatchewan Roughriders. Should be a great game. It looks like it's going to be a great night for football. Hope to see you at TD Place. Thank you, Tim Baines from Post Media.
See you Thursday.
You will see Timmy throughout the season as we talk more football, as we watch this team grow and evolve to what we hope will become a Grey Cup champion. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
If you want more information on the Red Blacks, connect with us via Twitter and Facebook. You also have an open invitation extended from myself and Darren Joseph, a 15-year CFL veteran, for our Facebook Live opportunities, be it at TD Place, pre- and post-game, along with post-game clips from players and coaches when we're at home. And we'll also be on location throughout the city when the team is on the road. So this is the pregame. I'm Ken Rivera, your host. And again, thank you for joining us. And I hope to see you around the ballpark real soon.